Hello, everybody. This is Kurt Roskoff. You are listening to the World of Ability Podcast Network. We are pleased, proud, and privileged to bring to you this newest next episode of Ability Now by Cece Carr. We have been talking for a long time now in past years about inclusion, accessibility, accommodation, neurodiversity, a whole slew of topics, and a developing situation locally, local issues, and helping people get, utilities and water and different things that you would think everybody in a humanitarian sense ought to be able to get without question. But we have people in authority that make it tough for some residents. And so Cece is out here as a community advocate, as a disability advocate with neurodivergence and talking about how we can make our relationships, our friendships, our community, and make living conditions more hospitable and more reasonable. There's so much to talk about. And you are going to like what Cece and her guests are going to be talking about today. So we're going to dive on in to, again, this next episode happening right now. It's Ability Now. All right, Cece, come on in here. Let's dive
Thank
in
you.
and let us know what's going on. What do you and your guests all have in store today?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my name is Cece, and I want to thank you, Kurt, and your wife, Sue, for hosting us. And today, me and Roxanne Miller are going to have a conversation. And prior to the beginning of of this podcast, I was sharing about how I first had fear just to come on the podcast. And I had that same fear dealing with authorities regarding essential services being terminated with no notice, no authorization, and no court orders. So today, instead of just talking about the problem, I'm talking about solutions so that I think better within and can deal with situations and talk to people who have overcome situations such as mine. And Roxanne Miller was sharing how she overcame her fears moving down from New York. And I'm going to have her start her story again because she briefly mentioned about how she used to work for the work on Rikers Island and her law enforcement background, and as well as a little bit about other things that she mentioned in our conversation. So, Roxanne,
Yes.
join us.
Hey, hi. Hello, everyone. Yes, overcoming fear. That was the original conversation. And I had to overcome the fear first with going to Rikers Island to work 25 plus years. I'm a retiree, a CO retired. And I didn't know anything about jail. My family, they weren't jailbirds or anything, so I didn't know anything about jail. And the first time I went to jail, I immediately I was overwhelmed. I hadn't seen those many people, and in the situation in the bars, and the just the atmosphere alone is just it is very different. Let's say that it's a world of its own. It is actually a world of its own. And Rikers Island is the School of Hard Knocks. That's what they call it. That's the nickname for Rikers Island, the School of Hard Knocks. And it definitely was a lot of hard knocks in Rikers. Um, but God prevailed in my life. I was sent there on a mission. It was an assignment. And even though I was getting paid very well, um, it was an assignment because you had so many lives, so many people that were there that needed just to hear or to see God in action. Because when so many people, some of the officers that go to work, they're they don't want to be there. They're making good money, but they don't really want to be there. So sometimes it was a little bit of harshness, and because of course, quote unquote, they were detainees. And some one jail on the island, 76, is a sentence jail, but the rest of them are detainee jails. So people would treat other people like they would try to treat them less than. But when I went, I didn't treat them less than. I mean, sometimes they were people from my own community. You know, I saw people I went to school with that were there, um, and it was an adventure. It was truly an adventure. But God prevailed. Whereas I was able to minister. I was able to minister in jail. I was able to offer a kind word. They saw that I was fair. I was consistent. I wasn't giving them anything that they wasn't supposed to have. But also I was giving them the word, you know, and also, of course, what corrections wanted me to give them their care, custody, and control. That's what the three C's: care, custody, and control. So out of 25 plus years, I was in a lot of different situations. I was awarded um, different quote unquote prestige positions to work at. I worked with we had babies in our jail. The women had children, and the babies stayed in the nursery. I went to get the babies when they got ready to leave the jail. I would take the babies home. I've done rearrests, and the deputy wardens picked me to do these jobs. Like I said, I showed something, and they seen something in me that they, you know, let's give this to her. Let her do this. So I did rearrest, and I had certain positions when things would come up. They would say, well, you know, go get her. You know, go get Daniels. At the time, my name was Daniels. Go get Daniels. And, you know, she can do it. I know she can take care of it. She can do it. So I was I can't say I can trade this experience for anything. It was totally eye opener, and it was totally where you see that the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. But I connected with other saints, other saved people in the jail, and I think we held our jail up with prayer because we had a lot of less incidences that happened there than happened amongst a lot of other jails. And while Rikers being an island, it was like 9 jails on the island. Well, at the time when I started, it wasn't 9 jails. They were building jails. They built the Rosem Singer jail. As a matter of fact, Rosem Singer sewing machine. That was her husband, the man
Mm.
that hit Singer sewing machine, and I had to go pick her up from Manhattan and to bring her out because she was donating the money to build this Rose M. Singer jail. And I remember I only
Mm.
went one time because I didn't take the bridge. I said, they didn't give me money for the bridge. I wasn't going in my pocket. And she said, well, we go over the bridge usually. I said, well, I'm not going over the bridge. We're going to go over this other, the other lower bridge. The Queens Bridge instead of going over the Triborough. She got so upset with me. I never went back to pick her up. I picked her up one time because we went the long route. By the time I dropped her off, I guess she was done with me. But I did have I had that experience as well. So I met her, met a lot of met a lot of good people. Like I said, I can say the officers met a lot of good people. As a matter of fact, we still people keep in touch on Facebook, or you know, you have people's phone numbers, and you meet the clients or the inmates, and when you meet them in the street, when they hug you, I was with my son once, and we were going into AutoZone, and one of the guys was like, Miss Daniels, Miss Daniels. And he came up real quick and he got ready to hug me. My son was standing there like, wait a minute, don't touch my mother, you know. And he said, no, 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 no. She's one of the good ones. He said, I'm going to church now. I'm saved. And
Mm.
it was such a testimony. Most of the guys that would see me, or the girls that would see me afterwards in the street, or if they would see me, they would let me know they were saved, they were going to church, or they got married, they have children, and that was such a testimony. So, uh,
Mm.
so your living will not be in vain. You're still you're representing Christ. You know, you're representing our Father, and it was an experience. So yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I worked in Bear County Jail because I was struggling in college, and I was in San Antonio. And I remember when I applied, got the job, and they sent me out to the range. I had never shot a weapon in my life. I was so scared. And somebody, took the time to show me how. And when I got to the jail, this was back in the 80s, they had those bars, where you had to turn and all that. You had to use the key and turn all this stuff. And first time I did meds,
The image.
them inmates hollered at me, all kind of stuff. I said, oh, I gotta get out of here. But at the end of the day, I learned how to be with them and I learned the tricks, like open up your mouth. Let me see if you swallowed your medicine. And I did my best to be respectful, which is totally different than some of the other officers because I didn't enjoy fighting. So I was like, look, please don't put none of that on me. I get off at 6 o'clock. So if you're all gonna fight, or wait till after I get off. And then back then we had 12 hour, 16-hour shifts. We had uncontrollable like overtime. So it was a big adjustment for me because those were just inhumane conditions to live in, and they were overcrowded all in just one little area. And I just learned so much on how I could respect people because the same people that are in those places incarcerated, they get out sometimes. And when they get out, they gonna see us. So how respectful we are, they will respect you back when they see you. And I remember I got sent over to BJ. That's the death row inmate section. And they hardly ever send women there. But when I would get there, they would calm down. They would clean up their area because I said, huh, I can't be in here with all this stuff. I need y'all to clean up, put your stuff up, fold the stuff up. And if I smell anything, you know what I mean, smell anything, I'm gonna find it. If you might know what I mean when I say that. So it was low. They had no problems. They cleaned up, and then when they had inspections, they said, "Cece, what you doing?" I said nothing, but asking them to do what they need to do. And I told them they won't let me come back over here if y'all gonna be fighting. So y'all don't need to be fighting. And so they didn't fight. They cleaned up, and they were like, "Cece." And I was like, I'm just trying to get out of here. And I remember every day I made a cake. I bought a hot cake to roll call every day. And after about a year and a half of that, because I had to get up extra early, run, get the cake out the oven, frost it, and then speed to work. And I lived about 40 miles from the jail. But even so, the captain said to me, my last name, Carr, he said, Carr, what is it you want? I said, a good recommendation out of here. He gave me one. I didn't know that cake was going to do all that. But I was so grateful because they wanted to keep the officers because nobody wanted to stay in the jail. They wanted to go to patrol and all the other cush jobs. But while I was there, I'm thankful that God made a difference in the people that I came in contact with. They didn't have no incidents where I was beating up a prisoner because I didn't want to beat up no prisoner. And some of them, I had to work in the hospital one department one time, and not one time, a bunch of times, and they used to fill up these cups full of their bodily fluids, and they would pop it on the officer. And I went in there. I said, "Excuse me, I can't take all that. Okay. So don't do me like that, please. I'm coming in here to be nice. And I like being nice, but just don't do that to me." And them folk didn't do none of that to me. And I was so grateful because I was being transparent because me and other people's bodily fluids don't get along. So so I said, But when that captain gave me that promotion, I said, I ain't never coming back to the jail for nothing. And
But
I
that
haven't out. But it's still a ministry.
it is.
It's a ministry.
It is.
And I'm grateful that I didn't treat anybody bad, not that I know of. And I don't think anybody came to me and said, "Whoosh, you did this and this and this to me." I said, But I've seen some incidences where they calmed down because I said, you don't have to do this here. You can, make amends, say I'm sorry or what have you, because we all in here together. I was locked in with them. So I said, I'm in jail with you, but
You should.
just not because of offense. I'm in jail because I got to be here with you. And so I learned that situation. to just be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah, in harmony with
So,
what you're saying about the respect level, because that's exactly what I was I was able to do and didn't know I was doing it. The same thing as you're saying, when a woman would come on the post, and actually Jacqueline McMickens was the first woman female commissioner of corrections when I went in 1984, and
mm,
so then we started going behind the gate. That's what it was called, going behind the gate. And so you got all men, and you know, you got a men's house. As a matter of fact, my jail when I left, it was 2,500 inmates was in my jail. And
mm,
so when we went behind the gate, when I first go on post, you're right, bodily fluids, or they would stand at the door at the gate. And when some people, when they make their tour, they would be unrobed, naked or standing there or throw stuff on people, and they didn't do that to me. They really didn't do that to me. I would stand
thank
in the
you.
bubble, and the first thing I would say, gentlemen, be properly dressed. There's a female in the area, and they gave me that respect. They gave me that respect. I remember when you saying about fighting. I had the Bing, which was punitive segregation. And I don't know why they thought that I was the one candidate for that. But again, calming people down. Sometimes you don't realize the power that you have, or God puts you in certain places. And I remember they were getting ready to fight with this gentleman. They never fought me. I didn't have any problems. They wouldn't fight while I was on there. So they told me to go to lunch. They may go to lunch, miss, go to lunch, go to lunch. I said, I'm not supposed to go to lunch now. It's not my lunchtime. They said, no, 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 go to lunch. So I said, okay, you know what? They keep telling me go to lunch. Let me go, duh. I'm not thinking, because as soon as I got to the mess hall, the alarm went off. And when the alarm went
Mm,
off, it was my house, the Bing, of course, and they had hit the boy in the head with the mop ringer. That's when they had mop ringers. That's when they had 180-degree hot water coming out the spigot. So they changed a lot of things that are not as detrimental as it was when I first started in 1984. So I do
mm,
understand about that respect level. I did have a lot of respect. The inmates gave me a lot of respect. They really did.
that's
Yeah.
good. Well, that's because you gave it.
I,
And I would tell them, I would call them gentlemen too. I said, look, gentlemen, we're gonna have to rack up because we need to clean up and get ready for our, whatever lunch, dinner, whatever. And they didn't give me no problem. And they didn't wasn't cussing me out. Because even though I wasn't in jail, I don't like cussing. So I be like, my ears hurt. I can't hear that while I'm here. And they would say, okay, we won't do it while you here. I said, thank you. I'm leaving at 6 o'clock. So whatever you do when I get off, or I would see them doing their push-ups because then I knew they would get ready to do something. So
mm,
I would tell the captain, I said, excuse me, they getting ready to do something soon because I see them working out and they weren't working out for me. Okay. They were working out because they get ready to do something. So just because I had that discernment to know what was going to happen before it happened, or if I sensed they were going to do something, I like, excuse me, I'm here, so don't do this now. You can wait till I get off, and I get off at 8 o'clock. You got a timer here. You ain't got to do it while I'm here. So, that buy me some more time so I could tell the boss, hey, they getting ready to do something, this and this and that. And that's because I had that that discernment, and I already knew who was fighting before they started fighting.
mhm.
So because God blessed me with that type of discernment, I'm just grateful that I didn't get hurt in there. Um, and hopefully nobody got hurt while they were on my watch.
Hmm.
So I'm grateful for that. And I love to hear that story. So tell me more about your trip down from New York all the way down here.
That was another thing. I did not want to come to the South. I was like, I'm so used to the North. I'm a Northern. I'm a Brooklyn baby. I'm a Brooklyn baby. I'm used to, down here. No disrespect intended, but where while they was catching fireflies, I'm catching trains. I'm catching a bus. We playing stickball in the street. We on the Johnny Pump, fire hydrant. We call it the Johnny Pump. We in the water. We went at the beach like that. We had our own little things, made up games in the lots or whatever. And back in those were the 70s, late 60s, but 60s actually, 60s and the 70s. So we're playing a lot in the, I was used to my concrete jungle, as they call New York. At that
Ooh.
time, I don't know if they still do it now, but kept knowing at me, kept this spirit just kept telling me, I gotta go, I gotta go, gotta go. Why am I going to the South? I don't know nothing. I would pass through the South to go to Florida and visit my grandparents, or when my mom moved from Montgomery here, so I'm seeing that. It was like, well, why am I going to the South? So I said, okay. I packed up just a couple clothes, not even a lot. And my mother said, you need to bring a coat. I said, why? That's the South. I'll bring a coat for it. It's warm there all the time. She said, no, it gets cold. I said, oh, Ma, I don't get cold. She was correct. It got cold the first couple of years out down here. I was like, oh, my goodness. But it doesn't stay cold, not like a New York cold. So I put the TV, the dog, my daughter, a couple clothes, got in the car, and we drove down here. Had a flat tire, had to stop in Virginia with a flat tire, had to get towed off the road. And so I was like, see, I should have stayed in New York. See, look at this already. I'm going down there, got a flat tire off. I got to go to the town, and we drove and we drove and we drove and we finally got here. And I had already came down like a month before and secured an apartment and everything. I was like, well, I guess I'm supposed to be here. And then all hell started breaking loose, and things was just my marriage went to left, and I was in Bible study with you and at the church over there that we was at, and thank God for Bible study, thank God for the word, because that was keeping me, because it was that marriage was, it was interesting. So but I stuck it out because I wanted to go back home a lot of times. Then I got down here and had a major operation. I said, if I'd have stayed home, I wouldn't have had that. I got down here, the first month I was down here, I was in the hospital a whole month. I said, what is going on? I said, this makes no, I should have stayed home. But I persevered. I stayed. I stayed. I stayed. God didn't have
Praise
me.
God.
Yeah, and praise God, I stayed. So here I am, meeting good people like yourself.
Girl, I'm so glad I met you because when I had started BSF in San Antonio.
Uh,
And see, I'm originally from Massachusetts. That's cold weather. So I
yeah.
didn't want to come back. I didn't want to be in the cold weather. Matter of fact, was dating somebody from Atlanta. I was in San Antonio. They came and got me. I, that means my car, truck, all that, put it all in the truck. And on the way here, I got a flat tire too.
Mm,
Flat tire. We on the side of the road with all my stuff. And he mad. And I'm like in my head, what am I gonna do? Okay, well, we had some insurance. The insurance, come with U-Haul. So they came out, fixed the tire, and I didn't ask him if he wanted something to eat. I didn't know if he wanted something to eat. How do you know somebody hungry unless they say something?
unless they say
This
something.
this person didn't say nothing. Okay. We got all the way to, well, Smyrna. That's where I had got my apartment. I had never seen it. And when I saw it, I was like, Jesus. It ain't like the apartments I was used to. It was like the hood. And I was like, oh, God. I'm telling you, it's bad when you can't even hear the radio station in the car because it's bad reception. Okay. I'll tell you that off record. But he put all my stuff in my little apartment and then went off talking about you didn't even ask me if I wanted something to eat. I was like, you didn't say nothing for however long we went. He didn't say nothing. Nothing, not one word.
Now I'm hungry
So
enough.
needless to say, I went looking for a church and
Uh,
I invited him. And we went to World Changes first, but I didn't fit there. So I was like, I'm not talking bad about the pastor. They wonderful, but I didn't fit there. But when I got to Newburgh, let me
ooh.
tell you, I just went down to the altar and I wasn't saved because I wasn't raised in church. And all of a sudden my belly started jumping and I was looking at people like, I need to change. So um Needless to say, I broke up with him. God got me up to Atlanta. I was grateful for that. And I ain't looked back since.
Hmm.
And when I was in BSF with you, I was taking extra Bible study because my mom took BSF and she couldn't understand the homework. So I would do the homework with her every
Oh,
week.
okay.
Yeah, that's why I was in BSF.
Okay.
Because yeah, and it wasn't enough meat for me, but I went so me and my mom could fellowship
Fellowship.
and we'd be on the phone. I'd be like, Mama, what did you do your homework, Mama? Yeah, but sometimes, people don't understand right away the
Right.
word. It's a process. But
Yeah.
I'm thankful that God kept me. I'm thankful that I met you there. And I ain't looked back. I've traveled around the world. We did a 30 minutes. Oh,
Almost.
so anyway, we gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
We gotta do this again.
Over 20.
Because um this one long enough.